Welcome to the FanDuel Punch Out. I'm Jason Gilbo, JGilbo11. With me is Russell Clay at Russell J. Clay. Taking a look at tonight's 10-game slate here. No Coors game. Some relatively strong options, but the pricing really isn't that bad for pitching. So you can kind of go a lot of different ways here.
Disagree. There's only one way. That's the winning way. And we've worked hard. We've put all the effort in that we possibly can. We've gotten the reps in, Now it's just time to use that muscle memory, use that process, and go out there and win, You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we'll see.
Ready? It's my punch out.
Looking at catcher here, and two guys we were talking about, the A's backstop options. Fagley, usually the guy who faces the lefties, should be kind of in the lineup tonight. At 3K, I mean, it's not a bad price tag. He doesn't quite carry that same punt type price as he does on DraftKings, but still definitely a viable option here.
I like how they made it so you can't pay up for catcher tonight. I like those slates. There's nobody over 3,100, so that's pleasant. It just makes things so. Yeah, you're paying down at catcher tonight. I do like Fagley as the top guy if he's in, which he should be. But I mean, beyond that, it's pretty rough in the streets.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you could look at a Russell Martin, who's been hitting well of late. I don't mind him at 2,900 against Hellickson. But yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, I mean, this is where it differs from DK. That Chris Iannetta, who is the most expensive catching option on DraftKings, is just 2,500 here. So I think if you are paying down, it's for him. And it takes a lot of guys for me, it's really Fagley, Martin, and Iannetta there as the guys who I'm really looking at.
Yeah, that's fair. I like Pierzynski at 2,100 too, but beyond that, I don't really think you can take anyone else that seriously just because of the pricing.
Yeah, definitely. And you're kind of looking at guys, I mean, Perez against Kluber, Gaddis against Wainwright. I mean, Wainwright hasn't been great, but I still think
he's been good enough.
Yeah. And you're looking at other guys, I mean, it's tough. Wieters against Wright. So I think overall, those three options, and I mean, you mentioned Pierzynski as kind of a deep punt would be the guys worth looking at here.
Mm-hmm.
So, moving on to first base, and this one's a little different. These guys aren't really priced as highly as far as where it takes a lot of salary out of your lineups from DraftKings. So I think you can look at a David Ortiz and the Edwin Encarnacion as kind of the top options to pay up for, but you do still have a discount if you want to go down to an Abreu or Votto.
Yeah. I love that Votto price at 3,500. I think that's kind of what you're looking at there in that range. Freddie Freeman against the righties, obviously crushed righties this year, had some of his biggest games against them. So that's kind of what you're looking at. He's a nice tournament guy. Jose Abreu's been hitting well. 3,600. That's a nice price for him as well.
Yeah, I like the White Sox bats. I mean, against Pelfrey. I mean, you look at Pelfrey. I mean, 347 will out to righties. You look at Abreu. I mean, that price tag's not that bad. You mentioned Votto. I mean, he's a solid play against Norris. I mean, as really the Reds' offenses in general. And you look at, I mean, below guys like Adams and Pujols. I mean, they're not that far down. It was different on DK where there was kind of a sizable difference from Votto being a great option in that middle tier, and then you were dropping down into the threes. Here, it's kind of a little bit more jumbled. Does that take anyone out of play for you?
Not. I mean, I'm kind of with you on that line of thinking. So, I mean, it does take a few guys out of play.
Yeah, I think, you look at Pujols. I mean, at 3,300, I mean, he's a guy who would be taken out of play for me because I'll just easily pay up 200 more for Freeman or Votto.
Yeah.
Adams is probably the only guy who kind of still sticks in that range where I don't mind him.
Right, which is surprising because normally you'd think those names would take him out. But, yeah, he's been hitting well. So, definitely like that there. And, I mean, moving down here, boy, it's not looking fun. I mean, James Loney's still at 2,100, but beyond that, it's kind of rough.
Yeah, I mean, Daeho Lee's probably the only one that would be worth a shot, 2,600. Boomer bust play, I mean, has shown some power against lefties. I mean, coming off a 2-homer game against Holland a couple couple of games ago. He'd probably be the only one that I'd take a shot, but obviously it's a relatively low floor, but we know the upside that he brings as well.
Definitely.
So out of those top guys, I mean, Encarnacion or Ortiz, who are you kind of leaning there?
Encarnacion, but not by much. It's pretty even. But I would lean Encarnacion in terms of roster building.
Yeah, I would as well. I mean, Gossman's been relatively weaker against right-handed bats. So Ortiz, I mean, not obviously Ortiz has crushed this season, can hit anyone, but if you're looking true matchup-wise, I mean, Hellickson's been awful against righties, and Encarnacion's really been crushing. So I'm with you there. I like him a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Moving to second base here, and Matt Carpenter, 4,300. He takes a lot of those top guys out of play for me. Basically, Altuve and up. I don't mind Pedroian as far as the GPP stack. The Cano lefty on lefty, I don't mind it either, but I still think Carpenter's kind of the guy who I'm leaning on a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure. And Cano kind of not in that range, not really in play for me tonight against the lefty. So you're kind of looking at that. I think you can avoid Kinsler as well against Sale. So it kind of thins out pretty quickly here. And then, like, I'm not a big fan of Altuve either. So I think it kind of the herd thins kind of on its own tonight for me at this position.
Yeah, I agree with you, because I do think for me, I'll be spinning down most likely. I mean, I do like Carpenter out of the top tier guys.
Mm-hmm.
Not quite sure I'm paying up for him a whole lot outside of maybe a few lineups. I think that Kipnis, Dozier range, Brandon Phillips is kind of where I see myself spreading out a majority of my lineups.
Definitely. I mean, same with Pedroia too. Like, he's a solid option, better than a lot of the matchups the guys have today, but I'm not sure about that upside necessarily for what you're paying for. So I think I'd rather just bump down to a Kipnis, Phillips, or Dozier, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, you can also look at Odor against Gray there at 3K. I mean, you look at that, that's a nice price tag. And because really there isn't a whole lot lower. There's no real punt options that I see viable for me. I mean, you had a lot of guys that were hitting in the bottom of the lineup, so I don't think you need to really steep down that low.
No, yeah, I'm with you. I think you just stick in that mid-range. And hey, Johnny Superstar Giovitella. Unfortunately, you can't play him tonight because there's just so many solidly priced guys around him. So 2,900, I think you just go Profar or Odor if you're looking that low.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, lineup considered as far as the spot wise, there are better options.
It's gonna be batting like ninth in the order. So
yeah, it's a nice matchup, but yeah, I think if he was kind of 2,500, I'd take a little bit of the discount there.
Yeah.
So looking at third base here, and Donaldson for me, I mean, 4,200.
Priced where he should be, I think.
Oh, definitely. I mean, he's been heating up. This Jays offense is finally really starting to come around and be a little bit more consistent. And I'm going to jump on that price tag while I can. I think 4,200 is reasonable against Hellickson. Hellickson, 341 wobble out to right-hander since 2014. Big 1.49 home runs per nine. Citizens Bank, I like it for power. Donaldson's just been so locked in. Valencia's kind of the only spin-down option I see really over 3,500.
Yeah, different price tier, thankfully, though. So it is different for roster construction. I think you just kind of go with whatever fits there. But yeah, I like both of those guys. Kind of fading Longoria against Carnes, fading Seager as well. So I think it really opens up at the top. Those are pretty clearly the two top options, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you. And I think Todd Frazier at 3,200, I mean, yes, he's been boomer bust this season, but you look against Pelfrey, I mean, doesn't have swing and miss stuff. I can see him kind of playing out and being a nice GPP option for cheap because he does have home run upside. And at a discount that's, a grand less than Donaldson, you kind of get a little bit of a hedge there and kind of hope you can match that or come close and save some cash to spend elsewhere.
Right. Trevor Plouffe, 2,800 was a guy you mentioned on the DK pod. That's pretty solid price for him.
Yeah, I like him quite a bit. I mean, I like these Twins bats a little bit more. You're on this price on FanDuel because look at Santiago. I mean, he's been god awful. I mean, allows a ton of homers. We saw the balls start jumping out last night. Santiago 1.69 home runs per nine to righty since 2014. And you look at these Twins bats. I mean, they do have some pop. You look at the ISO numbers, pretty strong, especially for you guys against lefties.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
So, anyone else you're kind of looking down? I mean, you were talking about Adonis Garcia. Is he a guy who's he's a little bit more priced up than he was on DK? Is that something that you're changing your mind on here?
Yeah, no, it's too close for comfort. I liked him as a pure punt, but there's just too many guys, and FanDuel is just a different pricing, So he is still batting fourth, so I don't hate the matchup, but he's too close to other guys that I like to really take him seriously.
Yeah, I mean, are you rolling out a Brave stack tonight? I think that's the more important question.
No, absolutely not. I refuse to do that. I did make one the other day. It actually didn't do horrible. It was right on the cash line in the tournament, so I can't complain too much. But yeah, no, I'm not going back to that again.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think with guys like Frazier at 32, Plouffe at 28, it's just kind of a you spin up for those guys.
Yeah.
Looking at shortstop here, and out of those top options, it's very grouped together. There's two that I like quite a bit, and that's kind of Eduardo Nunez at 36 and then Bogarts at 4K. One, they draw the more favorable matchups out of that. I mean, Machado against Wright. I mean, Machado does have some upside. Still think he's playable in GPPs, of course. One, because he's back on that tear, but still, I mean, tough against the knuckle bar. I mean, who's been absolutely filthy this season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see that matchup. And Wright, I think we're gonna know pretty quickly if he's just gonna run through this Orioles lineup or not. We saw that with Clay Buchholz, and then he got through the order once and just absolutely collapsed. But obviously, if Wright's stuff is working, it's gonna be working the entire night. So I think we'll know quickly. In terms of Machado, one-off, definitely in play, but I do like Bogarts more, and I like Diaz and as you mentioned, Nunez more.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
He's kind of like fallen to the end of that tier in terms of what I'm looking at.
Yeah, and I think you can also spin down to a Cozart at 3,300 or a Marcus Semien at 3K. Once again, kind of stick in that range. I mean, once again, I mean, your favorite player in the world, Gregorio Pettit, still at that value price at 2,500. Is he a guy who, in that range, you're kind of the one spinning down to him?
Yeah, if he's in the lineup, I might think about it, but
he's been nothing but good to you. I think you should be better to
him. On tonight's slate, I don't know if you're gonna need that. Unfortunately, I just think there's pay down options at other positions, and I think you can I kind of like the mid range here. So
you would say Cozart's about as low as you go. So him and Semien, maybe.
I don't see the need to go to 2,500 there. So I guess that's just kind of how I'm playing it. Sorry, Gregorio.
Yeah, he's disappointed.
Yeah.
Whatever. I hope he hits 2 homers tonight, and then I could send you a DM.
Yeah, me too. I hope I lose all my money. Yes, that'd be great.
You did that to Diaz the other, before I left, and that's what happened.
You're right.
So maybe it's a trend. Maybe we should find out who you talked up a big game about, and then threw the trash. My buddy threw the side. You threw all their clothes out on the front lawn, and you're like, "I'm done with you." And then they're like, "All right, whatever. I'm gonna go homer tonight."
I was talking to my friend about the finals the other day, and he's like a Cavs fan. And he was talking about how he's like, yeah, man, I fell asleep last night and I didn't watch the game. And I was like, oh yeah, dude, it was awesome. And he just goes, well, but you know what that means? They only won because I didn't watch. So now I can't watch Thursday. I was like, dude, come on, man.
No, tell him to watch, because if that's the case, I want to see the Warriors close. I want to see Draymond Green just go out there and drop a triple-double.
I don't. I want them to win. I want Klay Thompson to get 60 points is how I want them to win, because he's awesome.
But back to outfield here.
Yes.
Talking baseball. This area, I mean, it's quite a different bunch of names up top. I mean, Mookie Betts is still the same. Bautista, Bruce, Trout, I mean, relatively close, but Bautista is kind of the odd man out there. I mean, he's a little bit cheaper on DK. What guys out here do you stand, on as far as being a price difference that you like and who aren't making the cut here on FanDuel?
Um, uh, Adam Duvall at 3,400 is someone that's definitely making the cut for me,
Hmm.
if that makes sense. 3,400, I love that, and Eaton's down there at 3,300, so I do like that too. Cole Calhoun, those guys pretty much take a lot out of play lower. So I think that range is kind of where I'm going to be focusing my energy and lineup construction.
Yeah, I'm with you, and I think up top, I mean, 4,700 for bets is really steep. I think he only works for me if you're in a GPP Red Sox stack. And Jay Bruce, I don't mind him and Trout. I mean, at 4,100, I don't mind. I mean, Trout at 4,100 is usually a price we don't really see him at. That's pretty cheap for his standards.
Mm-hmm.
Cespedes at 37 and Cruz at 37, I like quite a bit. Trumbo not really in play for me there with those two guys. I kind of rank him third in that list.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you. In terms of that, in terms of the high priced options, I like Batista. And I don't really like necessarily anyone else in that group, surprisingly. But I think Betts is too expensive for me. That's a killer price for like roster construction and stuff. So unless you're going all in on the Red Sox and totally punting pitcher, you're not really going to be able to fit him in reasonably.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree.
so Robbie Grossman is super expensive. I don't know if I can get in on that. Uh,
He's been money.
he has, but I can't do it. I can't do it at 3,700. I got to put my foot down.
You like Cruz. Cruz is
Yes,
that 37 guy that you like the most.
easily.
Yeah. I mean, Chris Davis at 36 is, I mean, obviously it's not a come down, but I like him quite a bit. I mean, we've talked about some ace
Yeah,
bats.
that's a good call. I do like him. He has a lot of upside for that lineup. So one swing of the bat, he's obviously shown that plenty of times this year, and I think that's a good matchup to sort of view that.
Yeah, definitely. And I like the call there. I mean, Duvall, Eaton, Calhoun, that range is really nice as far as the mid tier goes.
Hmm.
Um, and I think you can kind of look lower. I mean, there's not bad options down low. I mean, you got some guys that are a little bit boomer bust, like a Corey Dickerson, in that range that I don't
Cameron
mind.
Maybin.
Yeah, Cameron. I mean, well, against Sale, it's kind of tough to pick on him, but way to go.
You
You got me
got
rambling.
Dude, he's coming for Ted Williams, bro. He's almost batting 400. What are you
Jesus.
talking about?
Byron Buxton, 2,800. I like him. I like him against Santiago quite a bit there.
I will never not mention Cameron Maben's name on a slate until he's batting under 350.
Oh my god.
So we're in for a long road here, pal. Um, in terms of Smolinski, what are we thinking about him at 2,500 if he's in the lineup? So
He's hit pretty well against lefties. I mean, 2,500. I don't mind the ace bats. I mean, I could see him if you need to go down that low.
yeah,
Um, I don't hate it. There's not really a lot of other guys that I like down low.
you know who else doesn't hate it? The
You?
optimizer.
Oh, he's in there.
He's been in there for like 3 days in a row. I'm assuming he's in there today.
Hey, well, I mean, look, he's got 5 hits in the last 3 games and a couple RBIs and a homer, so it's doing the job.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it's been doing well lately, guys. Don't be afraid to check it out.
Franklin Gutierrez been struggling of late. I still think he's in play. I mean, obviously he's faced a lot of right-handers, kind of lost his spot back, but with the lefty on the hill, he's kind of playable. More so in GPPs for me.
Right.
So
For sure.
anyone else you see down here as far as a punt option goes?
Not really. That's kind of how I'm looking at it. I think you can land yourself in that mid 3K range, mid to low 3K range, and that's pretty much the lowest you want to go there because there's going to be some big numbers coming from that area tonight.
Yeah, and one guy, we're jumping back a position. We're going to shortstop real quick because I don't want to miss out on this guy. And I should have mentioned him on the DK pod, but White Sox, Tim Anderson, 2,200. He's very cheap on DraftKings as well, going up against Pelfrey. He would be a punt shortstop worthy taking tonight for me.
Yes.
I mean, the guy's got some good speed. He hits well. I mean, better against lefties, but obviously you're looking at him against Pelfrey, who doesn't miss bats. That's a nice punt spot. And I look at that White Sox total, and I like it quite a bit.
I like it. I like that call.
So we're going out on a cheap note there, and that's going to wrap things up for the FanDuel Punch Out.
Sounds like most of the dates I go on.
Be sure to check out dailyfantasycafe.com for all great tools and content.